Doing okay. Been better. Wow.
Alrighty. Right.
I think.
Welcome everyone. So really great to have you all here. We're going to let the audience filter in here over the next minute or two before we do a formal kickoff. But for those folks who are in the room, today we'll be talking about what AI looks like when it's built for AEC. The main purpose of today's webinar is to go through a 20-minute demo of what it looks like to onboard domain-specific AI to your architecture, engineering, or construction firm. We have jam-packed lots of use cases that we'll cover. We'll walk through examples of running things like submittal reviews. We'll walk through examples of running things like drawing reviews, and talk a lot about what it means to actually meaningfully adopt. It's because I haven't started screen sharing yet. Alrighty, let's give another minute or two for folks to join in. All right, Kay, you want to start out with some introductions? I can go first, and then you can go.
Yeah, let's do that.
Sure. So hi, everyone. I'm Andriy, founder and CEO at Nomic. Today, we're going to be covering what AI looks like when it's built for AEC. Okay.
I'm Kayode Adegbite. I go by K. Lead a product onboarding here at Nomic. What that means is spending time with customers, understand the problem they're trying to solve, and guide them to the product itself to get to a value moment as fast as possible.
Awesome. Thank you, Kay. So today, here's the agenda. We're going to be covering a little bit about Nomic, what makes working with AI and agentic systems across AEC documents a little bit different than maybe when you work on your tendering use cases or legal use cases with AI. We'll cover a deep dive 20-minute demo into the Nomic platform. During this, we'll cover what it looks like to onboard your team in. We'll cover how to get started very quickly, and we'll focus on two key use cases that our clients see a lot of value in. So one of them is submittal reviews. We'll go through an end-to-end kickoff. We'll kick off 4 agents that review 4 submittals all in parallel and show you how you can make sure that they're delivering high quality results. And we'll also cover how to go in and do a drawing review and how to customize a drawing review. We'll talk a little bit about how we make sure quality is preserved whenever our agents operate across design and engineering tasks. And then Kay will walk us through his experience onboarding firms to Nomic and give us some key takeaways around what it means, what it takes to actually successfully go in and operationalize AI at your design and engineering firm. Kay onboards 5 to 10 companies a week to getting to success with Nomic. And he's learned a lot about what it means to make sure that deployments are high. And then we'll end with some Q&A. We'll have about 20 to 30 minutes of Q&A here at the end for anyone to ask questions, do any follow-ups, and make sure that they get their answers heard. So the point of today is to have you walk away with a really clear, basically evidence-based picture through both a demo, and we'll cover a little bit about how we benchmark agents at Nomic, of where you can actually go in and really generate meaningful ROI positive results with AI across the tasks that your designers and engineers do every day. And we'll cover that through a live demonstration. What it looks like to onboard your team, how to make sure that even the folks at your firm who might not be the AI experts or the developers actually are activated in using these systems. You know, one of the largest problems that we oftentimes see when it comes to really getting effectiveness out of any sort of investment that your team is making in any AI tool, whether it's Nomic or somebody else, is making sure that there's real meaningful activation across your company. We'll talk about how we both in the product enable that and also enable that through techniques like onboarding. And then we'll cover deep dive use cases. how AI reviews submittals, how AI reviews drawings, and some upcoming capabilities as well around what we have on the roadmap. Okay, so at Nomic, our mission is to accelerate the design and construction of the built environment. Our core IP that we build is the Nomic agent. It's an agent that can go in, document and project coordination tasks, not just across your files and data, not just your drawings and specs, but also across the data stores where your project data live. We're deeply integrated in places like Autodesk, Bentley, and project delivery systems to allow for the agent to work across all the places where state sits. Our goal is very simply to deliver the highest intelligence per unit token spend. Over the next 5 years, your teams are going to be allocating AI budgets to a variety of vendors. You guys will be buying Copilot licenses, as many of the folks sitting in this room already are. Your development teams internally for firms that have software developers are probably heavily already using things like coding AI agents to accelerate their coding capabilities, to accelerate your ability to build custom tools and bespoke internal tools for your teams. The reason you use some of these tools as opposed to just going in and using ChatGPT or Claude directly is because they give you more intelligence for the AI spend that you use. Our promise to you is that we'll give you more intelligence for the AI spend that you do across your design and engineering tasks. And our agent can do a lot of things. Our agent does not just generate an email response. If you want an email response, go to Copilot. If you want to schedule a calendar meeting, go to Copilot. We do real design and engineering work to a level where it actually accelerates designers and engineers. It is very easy to verify. And we'll go in and demonstrate what that means. But before we do that, I just want to give you a little bit of an overview of what actually makes it more difficult for, why is it the case that generic AI systems have some degradation in quality when it comes to working with the data that governs project delivery. For the more astute folks in this room, you might know that the reality is that the data that governs project delivery is highly multimodal. It's very typical even for a simple project to have an 100-sheet set with 1,000 pages of specs. Simple here being a 1 or 2 year project. It's typical to have 500 sheets multimodal drawing sets, thousands of pages of specs, and then throughout the whole process, you're working either internally or with outside consultants to go in and make sure all these things are up to both standards and codes. This is a very large context for AI to operate over top of it. This is the reason why if you go in and just get a $20 or $200 cloud subscription, you're going to be getting quality degradations in the AI task that you're doing. So it's just kind of a few examples to contrast this. On the legal side of things, you're working mainly with docx files that are highly structured, very easy to pull and manipulate text out of. And in software, you're working with very simple code files. When it comes to the realities here, as you look here on the right, mountains of details, all of this is a connected graph across the entire project you're executing on. So retrieval is really important for models to do well. One of the ways we get around this in terms of quality in Nomic is we actually benchmark our agent across design and delivery tasks. For folks here that were in this room, we ran a webinar last month on our benchmark launch of AEC Bench. It's a benchmark that we internally use. We use a larger version of it internally to make sure our agents are high quality. I won't go into this too much. We'll share some resources afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to dive in here to a demo of how Nomic works, how it operationalizes across your firm, and to give you ideally some things to think about around what it means to get agents that work across project delivery. Kay, can you confirm everyone here can see my screen?
Yeah, I believe so.
Great. Let me just double check here. Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. And thank you so much, everyone, for doing introductions in chat. As we go, feel free to ask questions, and we'll make sure that those questions are answered. So what you can see here on my screen is an instance of the Nomic platform. When your team onboards into Nomic, they're given a dedicated instance of the Nomic platform that is scoped into the region that your teams are executing project delivery in. We also support multi-region tenancy as well. What this means is that if your team is executing on projects in Australia and also the US, we can preserve data governance requirements to make that happen. when your team onboards into Nomic, everyone gets a license to go in and kick off AI agents that are scoped to be able to do project delivery tasks. When your team comes in, you'll be able to go in and actually walk through a guided onboarding tour for every single person that makes it really clear to them how to go in and get to value, in addition to having access to team members internally that can go in and guide folks to doing tasks like drawing reviews and submittal reviews with Nomic. This onboarding tour defaults to everyone, and you can go through some of just the examples of tasks that you can do with Nomic. Review drawings, make sure agents work across drawings and specs together, be able to go in and cross-reference across thousands of pages of specs. We'll run a live example of that today. Do things like have the agent query across codes and standards. We'll cover about how we do that in Nomic and how that works. Use cases in earlier stages of project delivery on the marketing side, proposals, tenders, and contracts. These are capabilities that are not core design and engineering capabilities of our agent, but because we use foundation models to help deliver the quality that our agent produces, a lot of the same quality that you get with the agents that you might have with Claude or ChatGPT, you can get those kind of same tasks solved with Nomic. And then general project coordination tasks as well. One of the key things that makes this really powerful, and one of the biggest blockers that we see, frankly, to AI adoption is the fact that everyone's very busy. Your teams are busy executing on projects. Your hours are billable. Sitting down with a vendor for 3 or 4 hours to properly onboard into some new product that claims to deliver you, AI value is sometimes not something that you have budgeted for. This is why we've made this experience really streamlined in Nomic to make sure your teams can individually at their own pace onboard without having to rally everyone into 1-hour calls while everyone's still clicking around on their laptops doing other things in the background. Nomic itself, this onboarding here that you see here, will walk your teams through every single step to understand the product and get started. So I'm actually going to talk through some of this onboarding with you guys to help you understand, and then we'll go into some use cases here. So whenever you're using Nomic, you'll see a couple tabs here on the left. This Drive tab is a virtual view of all of your files, integrations, and data sources you have connected into Nomic. Once you've gone in and connected Autodesk, Bentley, project delivery systems, your file systems like SharePoint and Ignite, the Nomic agent can access all of the data in there, scoped to the permissions and access controls that your team has already set. So, for example, if you're a customer of Ignite or you're a customer of Nasuni, or you're using SharePoint, you've already set permissions and access controls in those systems. We inherit those permissions and access controls, and the Nomic agent can only use and work over top of files that your team has already scoped it to be able to use and work over top of. All of those are available in the Drive tab, and whenever I go in and kick off an agent, it can use all of the projects, all of the files available here. You can go in and also, instead of syncing data from integrations, and we'll walk through some of our integrations midway through this demo, you can also go in and upload files directly into your Nomic instance. That data ends up sitting in the region that you've chosen to deploy your Nomic instance. So if you've deployed it in Frankfurt in Europe, that data is actually sitting at rest in Frankfurt in Europe, allowing you to preserve data governance constraints. Whenever your data is used by Nomic, oftentimes there's some advanced AI operations that need to happen. We go in and use custom models internally to index your data. What this means is that data is now available for our agent to do high quality search over top of, and it's been indexed by our proprietary Nomic parse model, which is a model that basically can go in and take a drawing set and turn it into a view that the agent can go in and operate at the very high fidelity over top of. This kind of all happens automatically under the hood, but just showing you a couple of indicators here. So let's go in here to the next onboarding task and walk you through the next step. So when you're going in, there's two ways to actually access the Nomic agent. One is if you're trying to go in and use it just like you would use an everyday chat assistant, like you're using with Claude or you're using with ChatGPT. You can use this in our assistant tab. You can give the agent a task and hand it off. You can hand off the agent a task, and then we'll go in and complete that task for you. So let's go in and do a very quick example here of going in and actually doing that. So I'm going to go in here. And by the way, here, the point of me walking through this onboarding tour here is to demonstrate that your teams can get activated and go in and use Nomic and learn by themselves without having to go in and spend a lot of time on expensive calls for you to go in and get activated. So the first thing that's going to happen here is I'm taking to the assistant chat, and I'm going to walk you guys through a very simple example of what it means to run an agent over top of project data to get a high quality output. I'm going to go in here and press this plus button. This plus button is going to go in and allow for me to add context to my project. The context that I'm actually going to add here is from this park construction project here that we have. So let me pop open a new tab here. And before we actually kick this off, I want to show you some of these project files. These were directly uploaded into Nomic, just like your team can directly upload to Nomic. This is actually a project directory from a civil project. We have comprehensive plans from the actual municipality here. We have, this is a 228 plan document, 220 page plan document. We have the actual RFP that kicked off the entire project. We have a project manual. This is a 200 page basically spec book for this project. And then we have the actual drawing set associated with this project. So this is a 46 sheets civil set containing many different disciplines. And most importantly, this document is the level of complexity that if you dropped it into something like ChatGPT or Claude or Copilot, many of the tasks that I'm about to show you here would be completely impossible to do. So I'm going to go back to this previous tab that I was on. I'm going to go in and add that actual whole directory here into context. So I'm going to take that entire project folder, the very same way I could take a whole ACC project that's been synced into Nomic, and go in and add this. So I'm going to go in here and actually say, give me an overview of the drainage requirements from the drawings. And I'm going to kick off this agent session. So when I kick off this agent session, what you're able to see here in Nomic is a view of exactly what the agent is doing and what operations it's taking while it's executing. So the first thing you'll see is a reasoning trace. If I pop open that reasoning trace, you'll see all of the actions the Nomic agent is taking to be able to solve this task for you. And as a reminder, the task here is getting a snapshot of the drainage requirements from the drawings. Nomic is going through. It actually kicked off a sub-agent that ran a very fast and cheap exploration to allow for you to be able to, in this case, optimize for cost while you're kicking off this agent. The agent went through and read pages. So this is really important here. To make sure your engineers trust the output of AI, they have to be able to see that the AI is doing the same sets of steps and operations in the same order that they're doing to build that confidence with the system. Nomic very transparently shows teams exactly what operations the AI agent is taking at what time across what files and what reasoning it's doing to be able to go in and create the output. With that initial exploration, the Nomic agent is now doing a couple more operations. By the way, this could all be happening in the background. I could be in another tab right now doing some other work. We'll show you with an example with submittal reviews in a second, where we're actually going to kick off 4 agents at once that are all in parallel performing 4 submittal reviews. One of the key, I think, one of the highest value use cases that we oftentimes see is actually around submittals, because it's a task that is done by nearly every engineer at your firm, probably every single week. Sometimes you get mountains of them from the GC that you're working with, and you have a gigantic backlog of submittals that you have to get through. We've had teams clear a 1-day backlog in 15 minutes of work by kicking off all the submittals they have in parallel, and then actually going through and verifying sources. So as you can see here, the agent is taking a look at various pages across the plan while it works. And ultimately, at the very end, produces output that is grounded in the actual data that your team is that grounded in the actual data and parts of the document that your team is operating over top of. So I'm going to go in here and show you one of the kind of key features of Nomic, which is the fact that every single factoid and claim, whenever your agent is executing on a task, whether it's a simple task like this, which is just some retrieving some information from your drawing set, or it's a more complex task like going in and, for instance, performing a submittal review, Nomic cites back to the underlying sources and areas of your project documents to allow you to have that level of trust and verification. So it doesn't matter if this is on page 1 or if this is on page 3000, Nomic has you covered. So I'm going to go in here now, and I can go through a couple of these other use cases. I'm going to go in and actually pause on this onboarding flow. Hopefully, you guys get the idea here, and kind of go into a couple of key use cases in Nomic that I think you folks here would like to see. So I'm going to go in and kick off a couple of agents in parallel right now to go in and perform submittal reviews. So when you're in Nomic, we have the Assistant tab, which allows you to kick off these fast-running agents that can perform more simple tasks, and are also low cost. They run for about 1 or 2 minutes. They cost about 25 cents of AI usage to be able to run. We'll cover pricing model here at the end here in a second. But I'm going to go here over to the Workflows tab now. And workflows are ways to kick off agents that are a lot more controlled for quality and also can run for longer periods of time. This allows you to do tasks like review an entire drawing set with an agent, making sure they go through every single pixel and every single sheet in the set, and do tasks like submittal reviews. I'm going to go in here and click Browse Templates. So with Nomic, oftentimes it can be a little bit intimidating to go in and see this agent taskbar. Go do anything that you want, type in any prompt that you care about, and then the agent will do it. This is why we have pre-built templates and pre-canned essentially workflows that your team that we have pre-vetted with our internal team of domain experts, structural engineers, architects that we have on staff, both for quality and also for cost efficiency. Every single thing in this workflow tab that you see in Nomic is actually fully available for immediate use. And this is typically the recommended route whenever you're going in, if you're running a small trial of Nomic, or if you're running a broader pilot across your teams, for your teams to start out and start customizing. So kind of key use cases, drawing reviews. You can go in, take your firm's existing knowledge, your previous RFIs, previous markups that your teams have made across drawing sets, and actually go in and create a standards document from that. And those standards can be tied to a client, or they can be tied to a specific discipline team that you're executing on internally, or it can be tied to a project delivery stage. The point here is that you can actually produce a structured document that then can be repeatedly used by the Nomic agent to perform a task like drawing reviews. So I'm going to actually go in here. We'll start out with the submittal review experience. I'm going to go in here and clone this workflow. A workflow, remember, is just very simply a Nomic agent that's configured to run for longer periods of time and finish the task fully to ensure quality. So what does a submittal review do in Nomic? You can go in and input project manual, drawing set, and a actual submittal that has come in from the contractor that you're working with. And then Nomic will produce a thorough review of that submittal, grounded and cited into the actual underlying documents. And to give you an example of what an output looks like, let me actually go in here and jump over to a completed submittal review. So here we went in, we put in a project manual to the agent, some drawings, and an actual submittal package. So this is, in this case, a product submittal. Nomic went through, and in about five to 6 minutes of wall time, so this is like real world time, produced back a review with several sections, but most importantly, all grounded into regions of the actual underlying specs. So there's a reference here to page 169 of this project manual. So I promised you that the power of Nomic is not just in your ability to kick off agents, but your ability for your teams to orchestrate agents while you do other work. So we're going to show you that. I'm going to kick off 2 to 4 agents at once right now that are all reviewing different parts of a submittal package. So we're looking here for the project manual right now. I'm going to go in and add these files into context. Here's the manual. Here's the drawing set. And then here's the submittal. Let's start out here with submittal number 1. We're going to go ahead here and kick off this agent. So that's running now. I'm going to go in here and I do it again. Here's the project library. This is the exact same project. I'm just kicking it off with a different submittal with the same drawings and specs. There you go. Boom. So now these agents are now running in parallel. So this is actually the first submittal that we're running, and this is the new one that we just kicked off. So I'll let you guys take a look at this here for a second before I keep talking. You see here when we're going in and doing a submittal review, the agent is taking several steps throughout the entire project directory. So this is, executing across 1,000 pages of project data to go in and populate out a result artifact. An artifact is a basically text document that can be exported into things like docx or in a Microsoft Word or into a PDF that your teams can end up using. Nomic is going in and showing you exactly the operations that it's doing. If it fails to do an operation, it recovers from it. It can show you the pages that it's reading. So in this case, after running some searches across your document set, it realized that it needed to read these pages here: 22, 168, 169. And we can pull up the actual document that's associated to in the page in the viewer here directly. But this is all happening in the background. Let me actually kick off one more submittal just to really drive home the point here that we right now are orchestrating agents to perform work in parallel across your firm. This is a really different paradigm, I think, than a lot of people are used to, where you kick off a single agent, you watch it work, you stay interactive here. Nomic agents run in the background for your teams. So I'm going to go in here, kick off a third submittal from this directory. These are all separate product submittals, by the way. And get running. So as you can see here, this is all pretty simple to get up and running. We have pre-built templates for your teams to go in and start executing, and all of these now are running in parallel. So we'll come back here in a second to show you the result of all of these three agent runs. I just want to really make it clear to everyone, the end output that you get here is grounded in your project data. This is one of the biggest fears that teams have, that these systems are going to hallucinate, produce outputs that are going to present risks into their projects. You can go in, look up every single claim that the Nomic agent is making, and that the Nomic agent will be oftentimes a lot more exhaustive than you can, especially if you have a big backlog of for example, submittals. I can go in, export this as a docx file, and pop open that docx file for any use. Here we go. Let's go in here while these agents execute, and we'll show you the end output that they produce out here in a second. Oh, this one's already going in and generating an output. So let's maybe wait here for a second. I really want to show you just how fast this task is and how valuable it is to your teams. Your teams shouldn't be spending mountains of time coordinating across hundreds of pages of project work. This is a really different paradigm to enable your teams to spend more time designing and engineering and less time doing coordination. So Nomic here is about to go fill out this actual end artifact with the end output, giving you a document that you can use downstream and in your capabilities, rather in any workflows that you have. There we go. So we just went in, we did a submittal review. Now an engineer can go in and review this, make sure that, or an architect can go in and review this and make sure that they're, first of all, not catching any gap. The agent didn't catch any gaps they themselves weren't aware of, and also provide a much more detailed view into this. Let's go in, and so these other ones are still running. They're running a little bit longer. To give you some idea, this takes about $5 of AI usage spend to run a single one of these. So with that example, before we go on and do a demonstration of how Nomic goes in and reviews drawing sets, I want to actually hop on over to our admin panel to give you a sense for the costing behind Nomic. So when you go in and onboard to the Nomic platform, your teams go in and pay a license fee, and they also commit to AI usage spend. AI usage spend is spent every time you kick off an agent with Nomic. And there's a pre-committed pool that gets drawn down across your teams. This enables your team, for the users internally that are getting high value, to use up more of the pool, and prevents you from basically wasting cost on licenses and usage that your teams won't be using. I'm actually going to go in here and go to the usage tab here, and hopefully this will give you a sense of some of the analytics that you get across your team. So one of the most important things with, if your teams are kicking off several agents at once, there's costs associated with those agents. Being able to govern that cost and set limits is very important for your teams. So for example, here, we kicked off those 4, let's go here, filter by last run. We kicked off several of the submittal review workflows across various sessions. These submittal review workflows all had a average spend associated with them. So actually, in this case, they were a lot cheaper than typical, because this is sort of a smaller project set. It only has like about 1,000 pages. So for about $1, we're able to go in and get that submittal review grounded in the actual project documents. And this allows you to very easily go in and compare, basically understand the ROI and both the cost nature of running agents across various tasks that you might have. I'm going to go in here and go to the members tab real quick and demonstrate to you cost controls as well. So every single team member on your team with Nomic has a fixed budget of how much AI usage they can spend in your billing period. You can adjust this budget. So folks that are essentially folks that are operating and have access to maybe a larger budget at that time, because they're doing they're in crunch time for a project, you can up those budgets. But it also allows you to have really strong cost controls to make sure that you don't overrun your AI spend. Typically, we have, if you go to our docs, one of the common questions that comes up is, what do I get from my AI budget pool? In our documentation, we have really clear examples of what you get for the AI budget pool you commit to. Typically, every single user for a given month gets about $20 of AI spend. And when you go in and commit with Nomic to a pre-pooled amount of AI usage that is accessible by your entire team, and that allows for your teams to go in and execute the Nomic agent across tasks and pull down from that pool. So just this table hopefully gives you some ideas of basic costs. So that first agent we kicked off on that drainage question, that's anywhere between 5 to 20 cents of work. Those submittal reviews are in the dollars, and the drawing review we'll show you here at the end is in the tens of dollars. But that cost is oftentimes very much co-measurate and an order of magnitude less than your teams find in value. So by the way, all these submittal reviews now here have finished, and all these just happen in parallel. So live on this demo call in the last 15 minutes, we just went in and conducted 3 submittal reviews. Hopefully that is impressive to some of you. One of the last things we'll cover here in the demo is some of our integrations. Nomic is deeply integrated into project delivery systems to make sure that your teams don't have to move and migrate data to go in and use Nomic. You guys don't need another platform that's going to be your data store that you have to then govern and preserve over time. Nomic is built specifically to go in, integrate well with both file systems and project delivery systems to make sure that your Nomic agents can execute with both the context and the actions needed to be able to do real meaningful engineering work for your team. So for example, with Autodesk, we can go in Nomic, you can see a list of all the Autodesk projects that you have sitting in your ACC instance once you've gone in and set up the sync. If I go in and do things like kick off a drawing review, which we'll show in a second, Nomic is fully synced with the actual data that is contained in Autodesk. You can open up issues. If you use Autodesk Build, you can actually go in and open up RFIs back in Autodesk. We'll go do a drawing review from scratch here in a second to really demonstrate this for you. But all of our integrations are deeply custom. We're not just using MCPs into these systems. We have a custom integration for every project delivery system to make sure that our agent can deliver maximal value across them. For anyone here who may be a customer of Ignite, same deal, very similar to our SharePoint integration. All of the data is visible in Nomic, and all of the data is operational by our agent while preserving permissions and access controls in your region of Nomic hosting. So I'm going to go back here and give you guys one more example of a use case on drawing reviews. So you can do all of these basically use cases across project delivery, all with a single license to Nomic. We are a usage-based model with a per seat license fee. And in about 2 months, we'll actually be releasing a public environment where you can go in, try Nomic without even talking to the Nomic team. Right now, you have to go in and book a demo with us. But all of these capabilities are accessible with your single Nomic license. So we'll dive into these pre-construction workflows here, but we'll go in and do one of these drawing reviews. So I'm actually going to go in here and clone this drawing review template from our workflow templates. What you can see here is to kick off a drawing review, we need a drawing set and a standards document. I'm actually going to go in and take that previous part construction set that we had. Actually, hold on. Let me not do this one because we don't have a standards document here. We can make one together, but we're running out of time in this demo. I'm going to actually go in here and clone this residential drawing standards check. This is going to check a drawing set with a pre-existing essentially set of checks that have been configured. You can customize this by adding in examples of previous markups and previous RFIs for your project or the client that you're working with. And I'm actually going to kick this off live right now. Let's go in here and kick off this, give this civil set to be reviewed by this residential drawing standards review. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to show you some of the errors that can happen and how to fix them as well. So we just kicked off a Nomic agent to go in and review a civil part construction set against standards for a residential against a standards document for a residential review. The Nomic agent's going to realize this and be like, hey, are you sure you want to go in and spend your team's budget to do this, given that these are not actually your firm standards? These look like they're demo standards. We can go in here and say yes. But this is kind of highlights one of the key capabilities. Nomic interacts with you to make sure that your team is able to get to value very quickly. Let's do a quick scan just to get a quick evaluation of the workflow. So while this is running, I'll show you here what the end output here is going to look like. What you're going to get here. So this is a review that I ran that was a little bit more thorough. This generated about 18 markups. The reason it's 18 markups is because we did a quick review. Oftentimes, a lot of folks in this room have evaluated many drawing review or QA/QC products out there. One of the biggest differentiators with Nomic is you have a lot of control over top of costs. You can run a $15 drawing review. You can run a $50 drawing review. You can run a $200 drawing review with Nomic. Your team has complete access to be able to customize the level of effort the agent uses while operating. So I'm actually going to go in here, click on some of these markups. And as you can see here, Nomic doesn't just go in and give you a piece of text that says, hey guys, here's a problem, go figure it out. We'll actually go in and generate Bluebeam compatible PDF markups. So if I go in here and look at each one of these markups are actually real PDF annotations that exist on the PDF. So if you export it and send it to somebody else, all of that's there. And this exported PDF is actually Bluebeam compatible. So what this means is that these annotations that you see will show up in the Bluebeam markup bar. So this is a kind of a complete example here. If this drawing was coming from a project delivery system like Bentley, Procore, FieldWire, you'd be able to actually go in and push these issues back into that system, like we were seeing in this example that we had with the Autodesk project and those actions existing. So let's go back here. Here's this agent that we just kicked off a few moments ago. You can go in and read what Nomic is doing while it's going in and reviewing your drawing set, the actions it's taking. It did a quick initial scan of the drawing set, just like you would do to get oriented. And now it's actually going in and kicking off targeted sub-agents for various tasks that are present in that standards document. So for example, it's going in, reading the internal standard doc, and the various checks that are present there, and these checks can be generated from your lessons learned. I'll show you how to do that here in a second. Can get run. The idea here is that your more expert team members that govern, let's say, quality at your firm can go in and create standardized workflows by editing them that your teams can then execute across the board during delivery. So I'm actually going to go back here to that workflow that we just cloned, this residential drawing standard check, the one that's running here in this tab. By the way, we kicked off 6 agents in the last 20 minutes, a lot of them running in parallel. And I'm actually going to go in and edit this workflow because this is actually a civil drawing set, not a residential drawing set. One of the things with Nomic is you can actually go in and very easily adjust what the agent does based on input that you might have, which are Excel documents or PDFs that have markups on them. In this case, I'm just going to say I need this to be more customized for a civil drawing set review. And Nomic's actually going to go in here and edit the entire workflow composition. So all of the instructions, the system prompting, and that the agent gets while executing to be able to do this. First thing it's going to realize is that this is a very underspecified question. What the heck is the civil drawing set review? And it's going to ask some queries our way to be able to better ascertain the actual intent of my query. So in this case, I'm going to say all of the above. So what civil disciplines will this workflow primarily review? Do you guys have existing QA/QC standards? If you do, you probably should upload them because the agent will be able to use them to better customize the set of rules that it's checking your drawing against consistently. I'm going to say no, keep going, and we'll say mixed here. And if you have some codes, you can upload them here as well, but I'm going to skip it. And now Nomic's actually going to go in, edit this workflow, and then I can go in and kick it off again. Just make edits. Thank you, Nomic. So all of this is hopefully kind of getting to the point here of with the Nomic agent, you can do various design and engineering tasks, and ideally, it's pretty intuitive on how you go in and get started. We have a very clear onboarding flow that makes sure your teams can get operationalized across tasks, very clear guardrails for cost management to make sure your AI usage budget is going to the places that are highest value, and lots of pre-canned agents and workflows that directly map onto the tasks that, especially the document coordination tasks, that your teams are doing every single day. Alrighty, so here we go. It's going in and making an edit right now. So in this case, we had this this drawing review that was based on a residential set, and in a few moments here, the agent's going to go in and update this with all the information that we gave it. So it could have been RFIs here and drawing markups to be a civil set review. When onboarding, folks get to value with Nomic the fastest when they perform some small levels of customizations to our default workflows, allowing for their teams to have a much clearer understanding of having their teams to have the agent much more primed for the exact client that they're working with, and also the project delivery stage that they're at, whether they're 30%, 60%, or 90%. Alrighty, so I'm going to let this keep executing. The Nomic agent start making some markups here on this drawing review that we just kicked off. And one of the things here is we are running up on time here. We want to leave time for questions for everyone. So at this point, we're actually going to go ahead here and pause the demo portion of this webinar. I want to hand it over to Kay to talk a little bit about onboarding here, and then we'll be able to open it up for questions. And we'll make sure you guys have all the resources at the end of this call. So, yep, go ahead, Kay.
Andrew, can you leave your screen up for me for the slides specifically so people can see what we're talking through?
Yep, can you see my screen right now?
Yeah, awesome. For those just joining the party, my name is Kay. I lead the product onboarding function here at Nomic. And what that means is spending a long time with customers, understanding the problem you're trying to solve, and guide them through the product to get them to value as fast as possible. So weekly, we're kicking off at least, I think Andrew mentioned this at the beginning of the call, between 5 to 10 new firms every week right now. And I sit in the working sessions with most of them. So over the last couple of months, I've had the opportunity to see clear patterns across the organizations, the ones that get real value and the ones that actually stall. And one of the biggest predictor isn't necessarily the product or maybe the data. It's the internal readiness of the company in itself. the single strongest signal I see is whether the person running the trial or exploring the product itself, they are feeling the pain on day-to-day basis. Not someone that is just curious about AI alone, someone that their own work is actually broken and they are finding a solution to that as soon as possible. So those firms adopt AI solution relatively faster than any other customers or any other people that don't have that experience. The curious want to explore for a week and then it fizzles out. And now beyond that, there are four other reasons that is listed on the screen right now that you can see that I see that companies succeed in adopting AI. Now, the first one is a scoped use case. So this is less of, okay, let's try and see what this AI is going to do. For you to adopt a new AI into your environment, you want to go into that exploration with one workflow to prove. Maybe a drawing review, maybe a submittal review, maybe code compliance, or you can even pick more than one, but make sure you prioritize them on order of importance of why you're exploring that AI solution. Now, the firms that try to evaluate the whole platform, click every button, try to see extensively what a product is all about, they spend a lot of time doing that, and that stall and it affects them adopting the AI solution completely. Now, the second reason I see is when you're exploring an AI solution, you don't have a defined success criteria within your organization. So before you pick up a new tool you want to explore, one of the things you have to ask yourself is, what do I need to see out of this for me to continue exploring this? And this is building on top of the last thing I mentioned, which is a scoped use case. So if you have a use case you're exploring, whether a drawing review, you already know what your drawing review process looks like internally within your company, and you start to build a benchmark for you before you go into exploration of any AI solution. Now, without a use case, without a success criteria, then at the end, everything you're seeing is going to be very, very subjective. And that's one of the things you want to avoid completely when you're exploring an AI solution. Your exploration period just ends with something like, oh, this is very interesting, but that doesn't actually move the needle. Now, the third one I also see is when you're exploring a new AI solution, make sure you're doing that on real project data, not fake files, not toy files, not something like let's find some data, let's find some files later on to explore. Now, if you have real drawings, real specs, real submittals, but you have to make sure you scope them so that you can quickly see the proof that you're looking for in a short period amount of time. Now, the fourth one I see is the bandwidth commitment. At the beginning of the call, for those that are not joining, Andrew alluded to it as well. This industry, the AEC industry specifically, is a billable industry. Your time is very, very important. So if the team can't show up to explore a tool within a dedicated period of time, then it just flops because, and not necessarily because of the product didn't work, but everybody's too busy and time is money in this industry. So you're unable to get to the value because you're actually too busy. So one of the things you also have to do is maybe dedicate a couple of days, a couple of hours, just lock in on that and use that to explore the product as quickly as possible in that period of time to make your decision. I think one of the things I also want to add to that is the decision maker of this exploration of this AI solution you're doing. So if the sponsor of your exploration isn't close while you're exploring, the adoption decision then slows, right? So it's just like you are working in a silo trying to figure out if this product fits your process or if this AI solution fits your process, and you don't have the decision maker of that adoption next to you viewing exactly what that process looks like, then it stalls again and the adoptions fall flat. So just to quickly wrap up here, in the interest of time, so when I come across the firms that we onboard, the pattern is consistent across all the firms that we've been onboarding here at Nomic. And adopting AI doesn't just fail because of AI in itself, not because of it's because of some other things, internal readiness within the company, and we have to put that in place before you put a new product in front of people in an industry that time and money, they are the same currency. And that's what good product onboarding looks like here at Nomic, and we've spent money time heavily and invested into making sure the onboarding experience for people in this industry matches the reality of what is on ground. In the interest of time, I want to open the floor for questions. So I want to pass it back quickly to Andrew. If there are other parts he wants to cover as well, so that we can take more questions before the time runs out here.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much. So in the remaining time here, we can go in and answer questions that were asked in the chat, and make sure that if we have about 5 minutes remaining, I'd love to talk to you guys about some of our future roadmap, especially as it relates to AI and our agents using BIM models. We have some cool demos we can run for you guys here as well. Okay, so going through here, there are quite a few folks asking questions. Gazelle is currently going in and building similar capabilities for their internal tools at their electrical engineering firm. It doesn't sound like a question, but I'll respond to it with an answer. We have a developer API you should test out as well. One of the nice things with Nomic is that if your team is heavily investing in building internally at your firm, we're happy to go in and let you run whatever you're building head to head with Nomic. We have a developer API that lets you programmatically kick off Nomic agents. So those submittal reviews, those drawing reviews, if you're going in and writing code to build an internal system, you can actually integrate those into that internal system and then head to head compare the quality. One of the unique advantages of using Nomic there is that we have a very powerful orchestration layer for agents. As you were seeing, they run in parallel. You can go in and make sure that there's reliability in the underlying infrastructure. And these are some of the important things that oftentimes break when operationalizing internal tools. But a lot of our customers have internal teams heavily building custom AI solutions as well, using Nomic agents where appropriate via our developer API. Brandon Jackson asks if we are FedRamped. Nomic is not FedRamped right now. Oftentimes we will be scope. So if you're working on in a firm that contains that is working on government projects, we tend to first operationalize on projects that aren't government projects because we are not FedRamped. We are SOC 2 Type 2 though, so we can go in and pass the muster of your security teams. We do it every day. It is on the roadmap though, and also deployments in AWS Gov Cloud as well. We have Security Compliance Center that was linked. Are using open source model for understanding the drawings. Our parse model, you can go into nomic.ai's use cases and see an example of what our parse model does in our developer API. That is actually a proprietary in-house model that we trained. Another question. Can we audit sub-agent traces? Yes, you can, Shania. Those traces are fully accessible in both the UI and also if you're picking that off your developer API. Can the agents do estimation and takeoffs? I think what is the next question from Simon? Let me read the full question here. So the question here is, while generating proposals, we have to be able to produce estimates. So yeah, when you're going in and depending on project complexity, an estimate has many components into it. Things might be quantity takeoffs. Other things might be, you're trying to make sure that you can actually go in and hit your target margin for your firm while performing that estimate. A lot of these kind of more financial parts of the tasks, the Nomic agent can do extremely well because we leverage foundation models that have been trained to do a lot of finance tasks. And things like quantity takeoffs are things that you can do natively with Nomic as well. So Joseph said it'd be nice to have a name for each review. There is a name for each review. It was on the left sidebar there, Joseph. I'm just running in separate tabs to be able to quickly jump between and demonstrate to you. The intent and the way power users of Nomic use us is oftentimes they'll wake up in the morning, they'll see a backlog of things to do. They'll go in and kick off those things, those tasks, 5 or 6 of them in parallel. Go brush their teeth, go do other work, and then come back, and the agents will run for 20 minutes to 40 minutes to have their task complete. And everything does get named. Oh, and then Monica made that response. Thank you, Monica. And my understanding from a previous slide that Nomic can integrate with Box file storage. Kelsey Taylor, how are you? And yes, we support a box integration for file storage formats. What does membership versus token cost look like? John here gets on pricing. If you go to nomic.ai/pricing, you can see fully outlaid pricing. We offer a 7-day free trial program. So you can go in, activate, and get to value in some of the tasks that we showed you today. We offer a pilot program as well, scope to 1 month. $5,000 that gets your team operationalized across many team members. That's 25 licenses there. And when you're going in and operating, usually it's about a 50-50 split between license fee and AI usage in the end, pooled usage commit contract you sign with us. I will note that in about 2 months, we're lowering our barrier to entry to be able to use Nomic. As a single user, you'll be able to onboard to Nomic and use our agents without having to do some large company commitment. This is part of our mission to be able to really make sure that every engineer and designer in the world is operating with a Nomic agent by their side. We're lowering the cost of entry very soon. So lots of people are asking questions around more power features. Yes, a lot of features, Bob. A lot of the features like that are coming, specifically around agent orchestration. As you can see here, all of our workflows orchestrate our agent in various different ways. You have full customizability in that. Build your own M/K option and make it more attractive for us. We're happy to have that discussion with you, Bob, if you reach out via our demo channels. Are there any metrics that compare how Nomic would compare to an off-the-shelf tool? Yes, AEC bench. And people are interested in also code compliance checks. We didn't get a chance to cover that in the scope of this webinar, but we can, at a separate time, if you book a demo with us, we're happy to walk you through explicitly that. Yes, it can be used on mobile. As a matter of fact, I use it every day on mobile. Awesome. Thank you so much for all the questions. I want to use about 5 minutes here to walk you through some of our upcoming roadmap at Nomic. So hopefully, we will get a little bit of excitement here. So for many of you, hopefully this might be the first time you ever see an AI agent do interesting things with a BIM model. So as we said, Nomic deploys into the stack you already run. And a lot of this stack includes software that does modeling. And those models end up being exported into drawings. There's specs associated with them. All of these sources, the Nomic agent we're working to be able to work with. So I'm actually going to go in here. By the way, a little bit of pricing here. We'll send the slide deck here afterwards for anyone who reaches out. Base license fee $40 a month. You can commit to a prepaid pool. We also offer optional. That's the wrong button. Optional professional services. So a little bit about where Nomic is headed, and I'll show you a demo here on the left. This is a research preview that we have internally. You can actually have Nomic work with IFC files and Revit files to do things like quantity takeoffs, tasks across your actual BIM model. We're also working on integrations into more project delivery data stores and also ERPs to be able to do tasks like reporting across your ERP and being able to link cost codes in your ERP to actual agent usage. So I'm going to go in here and pull up an example of what Nomic can do with BIM models. So here is a directory of IFC files for a medical clinic. We have a architectural set. This is actually live in Nomic. So this, when you're either syncing your Revit model or you directly upload an IFC model in Nomic, very soon you'll be able to actually interact with it in a 3D viewer. Every single element, every single component of this model is accessible to the Nomic agent. So you can do things like quantity takeoffs very easily. I'm going to open up this actual MEP model associated with this. This is actually all the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing work associated with this model. And it'll take here a second to download. This is a big boy. About 100 megabytes worth of data. Let's let it pull in here for a second. While it does that, I want to, just for the sake of time, start showing you how you can use the Nomic agent with these models. I'm going to go in here, add them to context. I'm going to go in and grab these IFC files. I'm going to grab the architectural set and also the MEP model. And let's do a quantity takeoff question. How many? Oh, still loading here. Oh, there we go. All right, let me go back here. So here's the actual MEP designs for this medical clinic. You can see everything. Nomic has access to all these components. I'm going to close this tab here, and I'm going to ask it how many windows are in this design. And because Nomic has access to all of the metadata in the actual BIM model, tasks like this are actually extremely fast to run. And then I'll show you a quick example of a collision detection task as well. So Nomic's going to go in, query against the model, and then produce you out an answer, actually grounded into the metadata of your underlying BIM model. Not only can we do that, we can actually also go in and cite into areas of the model. So as you can see here, here's a window. This is one example of a window. That kind of gets you running here. Let's go in here and find me 1 or 2 clashes with citations. We have a basic clash detection algorithm that the Nomic agent is aware of that it has access to. This is bounding box aligned clash detection. So when your models are axis aligned, Nomic can go in and detect clashes over top of it, generate candidates, and triage those candidates. So it has access to all the information that any BIM software has access to when it's doing these operations. You can actually go in here and then side by side in Nomic view these. So here's wall partition and a sidewall from the MEP designs. This will take a second to load because these files are big. But this is all actually running in browser. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of a taste of the kinds of capabilities that Nomic is delivering every single week. We ship over 60 to 100 changes a week into our product, improvements, bug fixes, and new larger features against our roadmap to give you a taste of what Nomic can do. Alrighty, thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate it. Without any further questions here, we're going to call it. We'll make sure that everyone has access to the recording afterwards and resources from this webinar. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending.
Thank you.